Why do most brands fail at Q1? The biggest reason is irrelevant core desires. And I'll go a little bit more in depth on why I think this is. But what I mean by irrelevant core desires is that seasonality, we know that Q4 is by far when people are in the buying stage or when people are in the buying mindset. And Q1 is when everyone starts to do their new year reset. But the thing here is that if we want to sell during Q1, we can't be catering to the same desires as we would in Q4 and just readapt that to Q1. Okay? So the theme here is that this dip in performance that you see in Q1 it's not really a seasonality problem for your brand. I know that some brands, for example, if you're selling flip-flops, it's probably going to be selling more during the summer season. If you're selling winter coats, it's probably going to be selling more before December. So that aspect of it is the seasonality. But beyond the seasonality, there's a core desire there that is hidden in plain sight. And so if we do not cater to that core desire, then that's when you have an ad that's irrelevant, or in this case, an incongruence or a congruence problem. Okay, what not to do in Q1? Go each one of them. The first one is treating it like Q4, which is using the same offers, buy one get one, using your 70% off offers in Q4 and just readapting that to the New Year's. I think that's just patchwork. Like you're not diving deeper into why do people want to buy during Q1, and this is why performance dips. Another one is people treat it like it's a dead season. We get it, I get it. It's January, February. Everybody just wants to chill. Everyone wants to sit back. Nobody really wants to test more ads. Everyone's just planning for Q2, planning for the summer. And I think that's really wrong method to think about it. Q1 is the perfect season for testing because you have a very clear intention for everyone, and that is the theme of the New Year's reset. And I would say that it's even stronger than the buying season of Q4. Okay, so everybody treats it like a dead season, and obviously everyone wonders why the CAC is so high during Q1, and that's because they're running more bottom of funnel creatives into cohorts that are already exhausted from holiday messaging. So across the board, CAC is a bit more expensive in Q1 than the other seasons. And then, like I said before, deprioritizing testing / the holiday hangover. Everyone's wants to just chill and let the ad account just ride from the winners of Q4 and then maybe adapt like one copy here and there. Okay, so this all leads back into having irrelevant desires. So everyone is exhausted because of the Q4 campaigns, all the Q4 messaging of buying of 50% buy one get one, 70% off. Everyone's just wants your money, and so by Q1, by January, everyone's exhausted from all of that. So we're catering to irrelevant desires. People are not in buying season, they're in reset season. So what can you do from here? First, I want you to think of it's pretty popular, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is you have the top here, self-actualization, and then as you go lower, it becomes more of a fundamental need. So you start from physiological, safety, social, self-esteem, self-actualization. There's different wordings and categorization across the board for this. So I just picked the simplest one that I can find. So I want you to keep this in mind because this is pretty important with what we're going to be talking. So the first one here, core desires to target. These are what you're going to be messaging towards or what you're going to be trying to be relevant around. And that is one, health. So health, preservation, and transformation. Another one is wealth, confidence, and security. People want to feel confident. People want to be secure, either physically or emotionally or even socially. And then relationships, status, and intimacy. So either people want to be better about themselves in relation to other people. So this also includes being better at the workplace, becoming like a better professional. And then intimacy, obviously, as in relationships, and also includes like family. This is just a rewording of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So if we look at health, it would play into physiological and the feeling of safety. And then wealth would be playing into social and also safety, maybe, and could also be a part of self-actualization. And then relationships, which is social over here. Okay, so these are your core desires to target. So Q1 really is all about, transformation and that feeling of newness. And collectively, people believe that it's a way for them to feel different from what they were last year. And so all of our ads, all of our messaging should be wrapped around this. And this is why, if we readapt a Q4 creative into a Q1, it doesn't really make sense. Okay, so what do we do from here? I'm going to give you the Q1 testing roadmap that we use. This is pretty, like general, but because there's different industries out there, you want to adapt it to your own niche or to your own brand. So I want you to start with the avatar. Okay, so the avatar is who you're selling to. It's your ICP, whatever you want to call it. And here's some actionable things that you can do. You can either extract your post-purchase surveys. So you can, if you're using Okendo or what other platforms, like I think Looks, of what the post-purchase surveys are, the platforms that they use, but export that as a CSV. You also want to export your reviews. You want to look at discussion boards either from Reddit, Facebook, not Marketplace, Facebook groups, or just the comments from your ads. So basically what we're trying to do here is trying to extract the actual words and the actual sentences that what people are saying, the people that are surrounding your brand, surrounding your product. We want to extract what they're saying, and then we're going to run it through your desired AI, and you just want to break down the trends, like what are things that people usually say during this time, and also break down the desires, break down the problems of each of your avatar. I think this is a really good exercise even outside Q1, is to understand what your avatar is based on your reviews, your post-purchase surveys, and also your discussion boards. Okay, so after you've broken down all the trends, then you would go into finding the desired outcome for each avatar. And what I like to do here is I like to go backwards. So I start with the end result, I start with the desired outcome, and then I work my way back into how do we get to that outcome. So instead of listing all your features and then listing all the results from it, you would work your way back. And what you want to do in an ad is you just want to focus on one core desire, and then that would reflect back into how does a product get you to that quote unquote vacation. You're trying to sell the vacation, you're not trying to sell the vehicle. So this is a way for you to having just a list of features and benefits that a lot of DTC brands tend to do when they're trying to hit like a top of funnel audience. They just list all the features, and I think that's the wrong way to do it, because then it just becomes so inorganic. So you just want to focus on one core desire per creative, and you work your way back on what's the best way to achieve it through the features that our product has. And that's how you get out of the AI sounding creatives. Another one here is you want to test multiple desires. So instead of just focusing on one core desire, you want to test multiple desires through your different creatives. So once you've cracked your list of multiple desires per avatar, you want to have 2 to 3 creatives that are directed towards just one specific desire. And that's how you try to quote unquote crack the algorithm, by having more diverse creatives. And really it's just diverse messaging. Now from here, then you would move into having relevant offers. So going back to Q4, you're probably running a lot of offers for Q4 and for BFCM, and you're just readapting that for Q1. Now there are ways that you can do it where you can actually hide the use of it, if that makes sense. But what I like to do is actually I like to rebrand or rename the offers that we have. So for example, for Q4, because it's gifting season, you would do like a gifting bundle, right? Or a for him bundle. So for him, for her bundle, whatever. So what I like to do is I like to turn that, again, like going back to desire here, going back to the core desire of preservation, transformation, confidence, security, status, and intimacy. If we're going with the preservation and transformation, then I would reformat the gifting angle to a fresh start bundle, right? Gifting bundle, fresh start bundle. It's the same bundle, but now it's more branded towards the New Year's. I mean, you can brainstorm different names for it. And then another example here is better energy. If you want to lean in more into like achieving your New Year resolutions, then it would be goal getter energy and so on and so forth. You can obviously use AI to help you brainstorm how do you rebrand or rename your products, or even your mechanisms, your features and benefits, in a way where it's relevant for the Q1 core desires. And then from here, we also want to lean into sunk cost, scarcity, and urgency. What I mean by sunk cost is that, what is something that people want to achieve and have not achieved yet, and why have not invested in getting this result now, and they've waited so long from the past. So you've already wasted 3 years. That's more of a sunk cost. Research says it's about momentum. This is more on the educational side and adding an element of scarcity to it. And then summer is only 92 days away. This is more playing into urgency. Now notice that I'm not saying, limited time only or 3 days this week only or anything like that. I think that could work for bottom of funnel, but for top of funnel creatives, like we know the core desires of these people, of this audience. We want the scarcity and the urgency and the sunk cost to be relevant to where in life. So we're relating the scarcity, these elements, to when they are in terms of their customer journey. And that's how you become more relevant to them. And lastly, from all of this, I would keep on testing different angles, keep on testing different mechanisms, different core desires. So you want to rotate them throughout Q1. And this is why a lot of brands feel like Q1 is because they just readapt everything instead of following a framework that allows them to talk to specific core desires of their audience.